Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Warbles on a lot here with Warbles in the Wilderness number 16. Because today is the 26th of January, which is, well, some people call it Indian Independence Day. Some people call it Australia Day, and that's what all the local yokels are celebrating. Some people call it Invasion Day. Some people, the real optimists, they call it Reconciliation Day. I tend to go with the Invasion Day point of view. So I'd like to try a poem that I haven't actually performed for about 11 years. It's called Cultured Food Plants and Civilised Land-LICE. The people who lived here 200 years ago or so, it's said that they were simple. That's not true, I'll have you know. They had oral history going back for 26,000 years. 10 millennia ago, they made the world's best in throwing spears. And every artefact they made, if lost, would safely biodegrade. They never dug a hole for a coal mine, nor destroyed a sunny glade. The people who lived here 200 years ago or so walked from food plant to wild food plant, growing free and going slow. They didn't spend their lives in farming, being servants to the sheep, each one piling up their riches and feeding their own heap. They grazed lightly, then moved on. No stress on any single spot. They never made upon the landscape any great untidy blot. The people who lived here 200 years ago or so, officially cultured but uncivilised. Manning Clark, he struck that blow. He said a society it is civilised by featuring two small little things. It needs public servants and public monuments, both to glorify their kings. And here, of course, was none of that, till Cook's white-winged wooden ark. So there's civilisation dealt with. Now look at culture for a lark. The people who lived here 200 years ago or so, we were taught they were so primitive they simply had to go. Well, a cultured lifestyle, that builds topsoil with the passing of the time. You agree, or you can differ, for that definition's mine. But barbaric habits which tear life from the ground around your home will force your society to share its fate with that of Babylon and Rome. The people who lived here 200 years ago or so, they had ways well worth our learning. Copy them and we might grow. Wild food plants capture sunlight and concentrate it in their store. Forest treasures in full view from its treetops to its floor. And to grow them under surplus, here's a plan for you to keep. Firstly, retrain all the farmers, then exterminate the sheep. Cultured food plants and civilised land-LICE. And in honour of it being Australia Day, the 26th of January 2012, I'm wearing what used to be my very best hat, which has the reconciliation badge that dates to back in the days when Paul Keating was the Prime Minister of Australia, and those of us who gave a shit thought there was some hope. Interesting, isn't it? Reconciliation. Most of the white people think that reconciliation is for the blackfellas to get reconciled to the idea that the Euro peons have come out here and stuffed the country. I thought, when I wrote that poem and started wearing a reconciliation badge, that reconciliation was about Euro peons becoming reconciled to the idea that they're living in Australia. Poor silly me. Poor silly bloody me. But there was in fact a time when I used to wear this hat a fair bit around the place. To give you an idea of how much I used to wear it about the place, you see how this one has faded, the one that's on the hat, whereas this is the one that I kept inside the hut. It's a brand new reconciliation badge that's never really been worn much, whereas this one has been faded by the ultraviolet. Reconciliation, it really is up to us. We're living in Australia. This is not bloody Europe. Euro peon farming methods do not work here. They stuff the country. It's topsoil mining. And once again, that poem can be found in Bush Poems by Chris Wharton, published in 1996 by Aero Hillbilly Enterprises, that's Aero Physics Engineering Research and Operations, or maybe Alternative Energy Realistic Options. But anyway, the ISBN number is 0646 30674X, and you can find it in the Australian National Library in Canberra, or you can find it in the New South Wales State Library in Sydney. I wrote that in 1996. The poem is on page 37, and as with everything in this book, you tend to find that the background of the poem is written on the facing page to the poem. That was just a little rave I was going through. And now we have just a little bit of rain trickling down out of the sky. Presumably the Dreamtime spirits of Australia are feeling a bit miserable on Invasion Day, just like I am. Living out here in one of the little remnants of what the table landscape used to look like. Yeah, I think if I was a Dreamtime spirit, I'd be pretty miserable and feeling like raining on the place too. Anyway, that's Warbles in the Wilderness, number 16. Cultured food plants and civilised land lice. Ciao.